heard about it. Hadestown. Coming to the Walter Curran March. It's finally on Broadway, people. And this new show is by the amazing singer-songwriter Anaïs Mitchell, developed by Rachel Chavkin. You know who she is? She directed a little show called Natasha Pierre and the Great Woman of 1812. Yeah, I saw it 3 times. So you may have already fallen in love with Hadestown either during its world premiere at the New York Theatre Workshop or by endlessly streaming the cast album, because I know a lot of you do that, stream the cast albums. The show is currently in London at the National Theatre, but if you don't already have tickets, you're too late because it's sold out. So now you're going to have to get your tickets on Broadway. It begins performances at the Walter Kerr on March 22nd, and now we're going to talk a little about this show with the show's composer, lyricist, and book writer, Anaïs Mitchell, and producer Mara Isaacs. Come on up, ladies. Talk about this. There they are. Now listen, this creative path is unlike anything that we've sort of heard before. Talk a little bit about how you first started writing this musical, the path to Broadway, and your collaboration with the director.
Yeah, so it's been this thing has been cooking for a long time. It started over 10 years ago in the state of Vermont, where I used to live as a, all right.
Vermont is in the house.
Yes. It was like a DIY community theater project up there. And a more abstract version of the thing that we're doing now by a long shot, but some of the songs that are still really important to the show were written way back then. And then we made an album of a bunch of that music, which came out in 2010. Had some guest singers. Justin Vernon from Bon Iver, if you know that guy, and Ani DeFranco, and we toured around putting the show on as like a concert piece, and we had like 14 people in a 15-passenger van and a dog, like rolling around California doing shows like that. And then I always wanted to develop it further for the stage and make it into like a full-length, professional piece of theater. And it was hard to figure out who to partner with on that. And then I met Mara and Dale, who are the lead producers, and also Rachel Chavkin, who I've been working with for the past like 6 years on it.
Mara, talk about how you got involved with this project.
Well, it's actually also not a linear path either, but Dale and I have been talking and collaborating and working together on other things. She at the time was the director of a performing arts center in Santa Monica called the Broad Stage. I had been for many, many years the producing director at McCarter Theater in Princeton. And anyway, we started talking together. She had sent me the album that Anaïs had recorded in 2010 and said, listen to this and tell me what you think. And I thought, oh my God, it's amazing. It should be a theater play. And she said, yes, okay, well, let me tell you what's already happened. And so she filled me in, and then introduced me to Anaïs, and that was the time at which Rachel Chavkin also joined the collaborative team. And we started working together first very intimately, and then realized that, developing a musical takes a lot of partners.
Yes.
And so we brought New York Theatre Workshop into the conversation. Actually took Jim Nicola to the Rockwood to hear Anaïs sing, which was his introduction to the show. And he was smitten, of course. And so New York Theatre Workshop really took us under their wing and helped oversee the development. Then we produced the show there in 2016. Then wanted to do additional work, went to Edmonton, Canada. Now we're at the National, and it's been a very circuitous path, but you take the path that helps you do the work you want to do.
That's right. You've been all over North America.
We have a very international collaborative team.
And now I have to say this because it's just so thrilling to say it that you are the first woman in a decade to write the book, the music, and the lyrics for a Broadway musical. Song from the show, right? Called Why We Build the Wall. And maybe we could talk about that a little bit. How did that song come about?
The song is one of the first songs I wrote for this show, so predates the guy who is the president now by many years. It's called Why We Build the Wall. It's, yeah, I wrote it thinking about sort of the archetypes and walls between rich and poor and climate change and the sort of what's going to happen if there are a lot of migrant people and they're looking for a place to land. And it was a real surprise. I've been playing this song for many, many years in my shows, and then it started to hit in this whole different way especially during the campaign and leading up to in 2016. And I sort of thought that wall stuff was just going to be a campaign thing and that it would disappear. But here we are.
It's bigger than ever.
Yeah.
Well, this is so exciting, and we're so excited to have you be one of the new voices and rising stars in our community. So thank you. And here she is to sing for you, Anaïs Mitchell.